look at this. Exciting stuff arrived this morning. So why am I excited about a box with pictures of Volvo Amazons on the packing tape and a website address in the Netherlands? Well, let me tell you, first thing this morning, I had a slightly strange awakening. I went out to go and look out the window to see if it was raining or not. It was, and I saw some guy trying to get in the back of the car. Very confusing, so I opened the window and said, "Good morning, sir, how may I help you?" Turns out he was a DPD guy, and about a year and a half ago, back in summer 2019, I left a note on the DPD website saying if I'm not in, leave things in the boot of the blue Mercedes, because it wasn't under a cover at the time. And I forgot about that, didn't realise it was permanent. And so at 7 o'clock in the morning, it was dark and raining. Rather than knock on the door and wake us all up, because it was house in darkness, he thought he'd try the boot of this Mercedes. It was too dark to see what colour it was. And he said, I've got a package for you. And what is in that package, I hear you ask? Well, the Volvo, the 740, it's still leaking. I had some very useful suggestions from people all around the world, actually, global suggestions about where to find taillights, because Scandix do amazingly good quality ones, but it's like £500 or euros for a pair of them. But Frank, thank you very much indeed for this one. He recommended, so this Volvo Classics, I'm sure I'm pronouncing this wrong, in the Netherlands, where they were doing, well they still do I'm sure, taillights for Volvo 740s for about 145 euros each, which works out with postage about £240, so less than half the price I was looking at paying. So let's see what's in this box. Now I have already been in to make sure everything was correct. I love the packing tape with the Volvo Amazon design on it, that's really quite cool. Love my little Gerber folding knife, this thing is so handy. Use it all the time, it's always somewhere to hand because it's just so useful. Now I've also taken out the packing slip which had my address on it because I'm not crazy. First Christmas card of the year, well second or third I guess. Yeah, so I'm guessing that says Happy Christmas from Volvo Classic Parts in, and something about the 2021 being not as rubbish as 2020. So this is, if you're looking for Volvo parts, this is their address. They seem to be very good indeed. They're very fast at answering their emails and really helpful. This is also very useful. We use a lot of these things at the moment. Volvo Classic face masks. I'm actually looking forward to going somewhere to wear a face mask now. Oh, this is a nice surprise. Volvo Classic ears, USB. Fantastic. That was a nice surprise gift actually. I did not expect to see that. Now, the star of the show. Oh, let's see. Nicely packaged. Oh, look at that, and it even includes gaskets, which is part of where my problem is with the old lights. That looks absolutely beautiful. Shiny metal, not shiny metal, shiny plastic. Oh, lovely. New fixings and everything. And it even has bulbs pre-fitted in the holders. The other one, let's hope that one looks as nice. It looks as nice from behind. Yeah, looking beautiful. That's going to really improve the back of the car. And that's really handy as well, because I do need a USB in the Volvo actually, so that's a real bonus. Now before I get too involved in today's job, I just want to say a big thank you to our channel sponsor Diamond Bright, who keep these cars looking absolutely minty, fresh and spotless. Look at the shiny Mini, which was brown and dirty after driving back through storms in a farmyard the other day. It looks absolutely fantastic again now, and your cars can too with a click of the Diamond Bright link down the bottom of the description. And don't forget, there is the chance to win one of 5 Christmas packs if you can send in a video of yourself cleaning a car with a Diamond Bright product before the 20th of December. Link to that in the description as well on the video. Right, let's see how bad the water is today. I've been parking it nose down so it drains straight out of those holes. This bumper on it is a brilliant rear mounted T-shelf. Mugs are still available in the Red Bubble shop, print on demand. Do you know what? After I sent the order in, I realised I should have been ordering a set of boot struts because this is really annoying. Yeah, it's still damp. Let's get the camera. Well, this side doesn't look quite so damp, but it does look, well, damp. The boot lid is once again condensation city, and this side you can actually see a trail of water trickling down. Oops, a bit of plastic's moved. Bit of water trailing down from up here and puddling down there. So yes, this is, yeah, you can actually see it here in the back of the light mounting. So this is, oh, it's actually running in front of the camera for us. How very convenient. So this needs to go now. Now, I will not be sad to lose these lights. If you're new to the channel, then these have been the bane of my life for a while because they do leak. This one is cracked through the red tail light. All the plastic is crazed like crazy. And this one, I did try an emergency fix here. Has actually got a big chunk taken out of it, which the previous owner had actually covered over with like waterproof sellotape, which was giving up and letting water through. This one, cracked here, cracked through the reversing light. There was another crack somewhere else I found earlier, but again the plastic is just crazing, and the whole lot is just so flat it looks horrible. Really does sort of let the entire car down badly, and I've mentioned this in a few videos before. So yeah, this is going to be a massive improvement to the back of this car. So just need to stop for a second. The thing you always forget when you're doing these videos, or I always forget, is to shoot a thumbnail picture, because it looks so much nicer to do a proper photo than try and do a video grab from the video. I have to admit, I was kind of tempted to put this off and not order these until the new year, because it has been, I may have mentioned in the previous video, a horrifically expensive few days for me. If you've not watched the last few videos, after the Alpha got it welding and MOT, that was not cheap. I mean, I paid kind of more than half what I spent on the car getting that thing back up to where I thought it was when I bought it. The Mini cost over 100 quid on the MOT. Someone else cost something as well, I've forgotten what. The list just kind of never ends. So I didn't really want to be spending a couple hundred quid on these lights. But as the clown in charge of the UK at the moment does not seem to be doing a very good job of organising any kind of trade deal, it looks like buying stuff from the continent is going to be more expensive next year. So I had to go and get my order in now, unfortunately. So my hand was forced. But at least it's going to make the car nicer. And this is all stuff you have seen before in the last Volvo video, so I won't spend too long talking about taking lights out, because it's only a few nuts and bolts. It's nicer not doing, it's a lot nicer not doing it in the rain though. Ah, right, okay, minor problem. Okay, yeah. Oh, the plug, I forgot the plug. I always forget the plug. I did find actually, after I took the plugs in and out last time, that one of the brake lights or indicators wasn't working. It was flashing the warning light. So these things are still full of water, which is where my problems are coming from. These are basically scrap, although I could probably use a 12-volt inverter and make quite a cool looking garage accessory, man cave bit. Let's get this gasket off. Now, a couple of people asked about the thing I was using to apply the silicone. I actually bought it that way. I can't remember where I got it from. It might have been either from Screwfix or someone like that, or Homebase, and it's just basically black silicone. Actually from Halfords, I can't remember. Yeah, black silicone in its own kind of spring-loaded propellery thing. It's all disposable, so you can't reuse it, but it's very handy. Let's give it a quick dry, because there is water everywhere. Oh, there's a bit of rust just there. I need to deal with that. I've not seen that one really before. So there's actually a couple of spots along this edge hidden by the rubber. I'm going to have to, on a dry day, take the lights back out, get some silver paint and some rust killer, and get into that very soon indeed. Actually, I can't leave that very long, but it's too wet. It's going to rain again soon, so I can't really do it today, but that just jumped to the top of the list of things to do. I've also just noticed, while taking the bolts off the back of the new light, that they're a little bit smaller. They're the same thread, but they're smaller nuts, so I'm going to use the old nuts, because they'll clamp on a bit more firmly, a bit more nicely. Much nicer, much thicker, but hopefully waterproof as well. And we've got the earth little connector there, just to earth that to the body. Oh, that's interesting, the connector is a little bit tight this time. And I was missing one of the two bolts or nuts that hold this panel to the back of the car, but fortunately I've got some spares now from the new lights. Let's just double check this works before I go to the second one. I had to give that one a little kind of a pre-wind through this earth nut because it wasn't going to take it straight through. It's just a tiny bit tight, but let's just take a moment to say, wow, that looks so much better. Here's the old one. That is just grey and flat and not shiny. That is lovely. Yes! A full collection of shiny, lovely working lights. Oh, that looks so much nicer. The car looks like new now. Yes! Right, now just quickly... Whoops, that trim keeps falling out now. It never used to fall out. That's bothersome. Over there with the rest of the trim. Right, yes, here we go. Now, let's whip this out quickly. Now, I was going to change these to LED bulbs, but I quite like the look of the old incandescents on a car like this. More for the garage wall. Not leaking as much as the other one though. So the silicone kind of worked. Now, I've got to say, the service I got from Volvo Classic, I can't pronounce it, my Dutch pronunciation is awful. Volvo Classic, effectively, from Holland, from the Netherlands, was absolutely fantastic. They didn't give me any discount, didn't ask me a discount, and this video is not sponsored by them in any way, but they were fantastic. They answered the emails extremely quickly. I was inquiring about whether or not the gaskets came with the thing. He thought they were going to be an extra €17 each, but with special order. Then the lights turned up, and it turned out they were included in the price of the lights, which was a massive relief. Certainly more to me than to him, I imagine. And they arrived. Well, I think I ordered them on Tuesday, and they arrived today, which is Saturday. And had to wait for one of these two to come into stock as well, so that's pretty good turnaround. So they were very, very good. I'll definitely be using them again in the future. They were really, really great service. Made in Estonia, just noticed that. I wonder where these came from. So they're still European rather than Chinese, which is also nice. In terms of weight and quality, they feel about the same weight. The quality looks pretty good. There's a few more kind of moulding marks on the back than on the original, and these are CB lamps, so they're obviously very, very high quality. But this little bit here, this connector, feels a bit more solid than on these aftermarket ones, which, I don't know, it's not bad. It connected quite easily on that one. It just doesn't feel quite as firm, but you're not going to be pulling it off and on very often, are you? So as long as it makes the connection in the first place and it works, it's all good. Now I have already, I don't know if I mentioned this in the last video, I've already got a moisture trap here in the back of the boot. Not that it was doing a lot because the water was flooding in, way more than a moisture trap could have dealt with. But I will top up the crystals in that, refill it all, so it's hopefully going to dry out the boot relatively quickly now. Now there's no more, hopefully, no more water coming in. Now let's check they both work. Look at the back of this car, it looks so nice now. That is absolutely transformed the back of the car. Admittedly, this has cost more than the car cost to buy, but it does look a lot nicer. Ah, okay, none of them are working, that's bad. This one, which does work, so I can just investigate which wire should be feeding the side lights. Yeah, brown and white showing decent voltage. So now I know that the brown and white wire is the side lights. 2 minutes ago I said I'm not going to be pulling these wires off too often. I've just done it twice already. Let's find brown and white on this one, which obviously doesn't exist because it's the other side of the car. Excellent. Red. Oh yeah, red's got voltage, so it should be working. So why aren't you working is the question. So I do red to where I was earthing it. Yeah, so it should be working just there. Let's try and remake this earth. So that one seems like a happy earth, or that bolt, but the other bolt didn't seem like a happy bolt to earth it to. Let's just try red to that earth. Yeah, it should be getting power there. Let's plug it in and see what happens. I had earthed it to that bolt just there, which touches against the body just there. Didn't like it. This bolt does like it. So I don't know the difference between that one and that one. Must be better paint maybe, I don't know. There we go, that's better. So we've got reversing light, side lights. Let's check the brake lights and the indicator. Ah, that's definitely a bad earth. Or forced the this larger bolt to go through here, and that seems to have done the trick. It's happy now. Success, although I don't seem to have hazard lights. So Joseph, when he did the test drive on this car a while back in summertime, he said the hazard light switch wasn't working, and I've just pushed it, and he's quite right, it isn't. So I need to investigate the broken hazard light switch as well now. But now I've got working tail lights. I'm going to give this a really good dry out with some blue roll, and hopefully, we've got fortunately rain coming, so I can test this quite effectively and realistically. And see if any more water's coming in. Hopefully it's not another drain elsewhere in the back of here causing me more trouble. Right, is this drain hole down here by the aerial, which comes from up here, where it runs off the back window of the car, down this long rubber tube. Just pull this plastic bung out. I'll try and rod that through. It feels like it's clear. That should be running straight through. Bit of grot in there, but nothing too much. I can still see water seeping out from somewhere. This end here is higher than the front of the car, and there is water running down from somewhere. It's not raining at the moment, so there's no water. It's down here. It's running, it's just so wet, it's just condensing or coming out of the seams or something. So I'm going to leave it with the boot open just to dry out for a couple of hours. Now the reception to this radio, if you'll excuse the pun, radio reception, you get it? Sorry, has been mixed. Personally, I think it looks good. It's a kind of semi-period accessory. It's only a couple of years newer than the car, and the kind of thing that someone might have spent money upgrading to back in the 1990s when the car was a couple of years old. So I don't think it's that out of place. Unfortunately, I've got in fact, two little issues with it. First of all, I've discovered that when I go into first gear, it's actually possible to hit it. I say possible, it happens most times. For reverse, not such a problem, but first, definitely whack the volume, sometimes even the power button, with my knuckles. So that's a bit of an issue. And secondly, the driver's speaker has stopped working, which means the wiring has come discombobulated. So I need to quickly pull it out again, wiggle the wires, and push it, unglue it from the fascia. Actually, it also gives me a second chance to address two other things that people were saying I should have done. First of all, they were saying I should have taken this cage off and clipped it to the back of this aftermarket plastic trim, which meant I could then slide it into there. But really, there's nothing substantial enough to do that to, because this has got little slots that are about paper width thin, and this has got a curl over on it. That wasn't going to clip onto that. There's just no way. Secondly, people are saying, oh, you've got the aerial wrong. That wire here, this pigtail, just plugs in, and you can plug it into the back. So the genuine car aerial into the back. You can't. It's a wire that goes into the back of the radio. I did know this. I wasn't going to be tricked by my own radio I've owned for 2.5 decades. That is internal. It's connected internally. You can't pull it out. Okay, so that's two things addressed. Now then, the thing I do need to address now is the noise. Where has the noise gone? I just realised one thing I've done wrong. This isn't the surround from this radio. Even with no plastic trim just there, this is coming out too far to actually access the remove button. I thought I'd just glued it on wrong. That's the wrong surround. Let's put radio 4 on. There's no copyright music then. So I can't see any problems with the wiring loom. Everything seems to be correct. So just to double check whether it was the wiring, the speaker or the radio, I've got this Sony out the garage, hooked it all up, and I've got the same problem in that only the left-hand speaker is working. So I've just popped this speaker cover off, and it looks like someone has taken these speakers out before, because there's a little bit of wear in some of the screws. I'll see what colour the wires are that are going to this. So I am looking for the white and the yellow and white stripy. Over here, where that doesn't appear to exist. Excellent. But where's the yellow and white? That's bizarre. So it appears the speaker wires actually change colour somewhere between here in the middle of the dashboard and just down there in the door. That's really super helpful. Makes diagnosing things so much simpler. Yeah, I might just put this back together and have one speaker only. Might be less hassle for now. I seem to have identified a problem with this Alpine connector into the back of the radio, because I had noticed the radio was kind of cutting out unexpectedly quite a lot. So I didn't know what it was, but every time I wobble the radio trying to refit it, it cuts out. And I think it's this connector here which goes in the back of the radio. And weirdly, with other Alpine on the floor over here, it will not go in. It's the same 8-pin connector which looks identical but doesn't quite fit for I don't know what reason. I've just noticed on the back of this Sony, this does have that strange modern fitment which is common to a lot of things, but this is what I think a lot of people are referring to, in that there's like an adapter that comes out of it which the Alpine didn't have. Right, that was an awful lot of faffing, and I don't think that looks anywhere near as nice as the Alpine which was there before. At least it's black now, so it's more discreet, which will please some people I imagine. However, it's not going to stay. Right, so things to do list continues to grow. Sorting out that little lip of rust above the lights, get that taken care of immediately. That radio isn't going to last. I've popped down to Halfords or somewhere, see if I can get a new plug out thingy for the Alpine stereo, because that would look so much nicer to have the Alpine back in there. It's period, it's correct. Unless I can find like a period 1980s Alpine radio. That would look very nice indeed. But there's almost no space behind this radio at all. I don't know how on earth I managed to clip that first Alpine in before, because I couldn't make the wires crush down enough this time. So yeah, but I might actually just go for pre-outs. It's got pre-outs on this. I can run pre-out cables to an amp, then an amp to new speakers in all 4 doors, and that would sound a lot better from the Alpine as well. So I get really, really nice audio throughout the car by doing that. Project for another day. And as long as I've got audio in it for now, and this has got a little aux in on it as well, so I can plug a wire from my phone. At least I can listen to Audible and stuff in the car. Right, I'm going to go do other stuff. I've now got a Volvo Classics face mask, wear and proclaim my Volvo love when I'm out on the street. Right, and of course it's raining again now, so it'll be a perfect test of the new lights to see if they actually are keeping the boot dry. Should have a quick look for a sign off. Looking good so far. There is water seeping out of somewhere. It looks like it's seeping out of the actual seams themselves. It's probably going to take a couple of days to fully dry out in here. And that side does look an awful lot drier immediately, which is a significant improvement. And of course the back of the car looks fantastic now. A big, big difference to how it was before. Happy days. Well, big improvement all round apart from the radio, which is a lot worse. Thanks for watching. As always, like, subscribe. You know the drill. And I'll see you again next time.